I turn off the Ferguson feed, and there is a Trader Joe's bag on the table. My love is hunched over it, metal meeting mouth, an action meant to nourish him. I turn off the Ferguson feed, and there's a Trader Joe's bag on the table. And in the pinch of the trifold, there's a strange pilgrim man holding a telescope, but I totally think it's a mullet or a gun. If I'm going to attend history, I might as well be accurate about it. I turn off the Ferguson feed and sit in my list of generational traumas, reach for the man I want to marry and pinch at the deep whiskey skin for clarity. Am I here? Is he here? What is existence under perpetual threat? A lisp, a limited limb, an identity of function, an identity of friction. It's complicated when the self contradicts. It's complicated when I want my feminism to serve everyone, but the day a man slaps the bold from my mouth, Soho's feminism is a stiff frame choosing to mind its own business. It's complicated when they're running and dying and sitting in my classroom and one of my high school seniors says, "Miss Kimone, I don't give a fuck about the cops," and I'm all, "Shh, Habibi, end of the year quotas need filling." It's complicated when he says, "Miss Kimone, I just want to go to college so I don't have to deal with this shit anymore, and I'm not sure if it's better to tug the lie out or leave him with the romance of it all." It's complicated when my star-eyed partner says, "Babe, I couldn't do anything. He had me by the balls about every dynamic in which white men are present, always by the balls, always hanging from fucking something." It's complicated when he says, "This is all chess, babe, and I just want to know what happens when we move." Because she just came here from Arkansas, and her Victorian blush is the most important thing that has happened to this block thus far. And while she complains about the coffee, I guess it's not Starbucks, huh? The poorest, brokest man will offer to buy her hungover bacon, egg, and cheese if it brings him an inch outside of the cage. My, how oppressive that must be. Your entire existence, one gold stitch in the universe's entire day. White girl says, when they stare at me or say things to me on the street, it makes me uncomfortable. It makes me feel like a piece of meat. A piece of meat is shot while seeking help after a car accident on a doorstep. A piece of meat is shot 11 times on a residential street corner. A piece of meat is rolled up dead in a gym mat. The dead pieces of meat are left to slow bleed on public platforms like trees or street corners. The butchers display their prime cuts with butcher's pride. The pieces of meat are anxious in a Greenpoint grocery store. The pieces of meat argue over how to respond to being pieces of meat in the Greenpoint grocery store. The pieces of meat deliberately move slower. The pieces of meat deliberately move faster. Butcher stands by, clean knife to be deployed, 2 flies in a honey trap before midnight. I turn off the Ferguson feed, and there is a Trader Joe's bag on the table. In the pinch of the trifold, there is a white man holding a gun. If I'm going to attend history, I might as well be accurate about it.
The preacher asks anyone, ask God, if there's anything they can do, knowing that the instant they move that truck, her body will fall to pieces, along with his faith.